Is the internet and social media making us all more negative? And are internet trolls spreading misinformation and negativity like wildfire and giving us all the impression that the world is a really unhappy place everywhere? That everywhere you look, there's something terrible happening. There's some cruelty being wreaked on some poor innocents, or there is poverty and depression, and the markets are going down, and our health is going to pot, and the food system's broken, and education's fallen off a cliff, and all the bad stuff. There's no hope for children for the future, because who'd want to grow up in their world? Sometimes it can really feel like that's all that there is, just bad news on top of more bad news. The internet is often absolutely flooded with negative content, especially in comment sections. People are quick to criticise and tear down rather than contribute constructively. And this horrible culture of negativity can really discourage progress and open-mindedness and conversation and positive. It just is the absolute opposite, isn't it? And the power that positivity has over negativity and criticism is really strong, because building something is always more valuable than tearing something down. And constructive contributions drive progress, whereas negativity and meanness just holds things back. So the challenge that we have, and this goes along with the whole subject of decluttering your mind and trying to live a more positive, uplifting life rather than allowing negative things to bring you down. And the challenge is therefore shifting from this mindset of negativity and judgment into one of creativity, positivity, good things, thinking how you can change your mind and change everything. My name's Emma Voysey. I am a health coach, and it's my mission on this channel to empower people to change the trajectory of their own health the way I changed mine, to educate and share ideas and enable people to realise that they too, like I did, can change the entire trajectory, the entire path, or the way that their own health is headed. You can change it just by knowledge and knowing the right things to eat, the right inputs, the right ways to behave, the right ways to move. You can change your health with using these type of strategies. Today I'm really just addressing this online negativity, which can be so damaging and limiting and just so unnecessary and unkind, and it just goes on all the time, all around us, every single day, whether it's the internet, whether it's listening to, it's actually pretty warm now, it was very cold when I set off, listening to bad news, reading bad news, having it piped in through on the radio or on the TV, like 24 hours a day, reiterating all the time how bad everything is. Let's see if I can. I've got a brand new camera, so hopefully the picture's better. But I don't have a tripod for it yet, because none of my tripods fitted this new little gadget, which is amazing. I'm very pleased with it. Let me find a branch instead, and then it will be a lot safer. I was on the side of a mountain just now, and I didn't really fancy letting go, but here in this glade is a bit safer. Personal experience with online negativity. Fortunately for myself, I haven't had too much of this just yet, because I'm quite a small channel at the moment. But as you get bigger, you get more and more of it. And the big YouTubers, Instagrammers, TikTokers, whoever they might be, when you scroll down through the comments, you start to see the bad, negative, miserable stuff coming through. Many creators face these awful, harsh criticisms that can feel overwhelming, and it's very easy, I think it must be very easy for these spiteful, nasty people that are the keyboard warriors that like to say the horrible stuff to forget that there's a real person behind that channel that you've just slated and brought down because it doesn't align with your beliefs, or you just feel like being unkind to somebody, or you've got so much negative inside you that you have to give it an outlet, and your outlet is being mean to other people. Examples of this, just 2 examples, just in the last couple of days. I follow Eddie Abu, who you may or may not have heard of. He's a brilliant influencer because he's actually managed, in his inimitable fashion, he's managed to get his message that you should eat real food, not ultra-processed crap. He's a gym owner from somewhere just outside London in the UK, and he's managed to get that message across to the young people that started with his gym goers, because he would walk around the gym every night and empty the bins, and they'd be full of wrappers from energy bars and empty drink cans, protein shakes and energy drinks, and he just thought, why are they eating all this food, which it's expensive for starters, and it's very ultra processed, and a lot of it is really not very good for us, instead of just eating real food. So he started to spread this message that you should eat real food, because he turned his own health around by doing just that. And he used to be a champion bodybuilder, absolutely massive, really hench, but he was a champion bodybuilder back in the day when all the champion bodybuilders, I've no idea what they do nowadays, but back in the 80s and 90s they were all taking lots of steroids, because that's how they got those enormous bodies, and they all did it, and it was something that was really rife in that culture. And we all know steroids, hopefully we all know steroids aren't very good for us. So people throw that at him, even though he's turned all his health issues around just by changing his own diet. He's gone from being overweight, diabetic, many healthy, I can't remember, I don't dwell on so much on the things he used to have wrong with him, but I love what he's done to get his message through to young people. And all that people can say, not everybody, he's got masses and masses of fans, but he's also got a lot of people who don't like him and say horrible stuff to him every time he posts anything. And he posted a quote a couple of days ago, which I'll share here for you now, because I thought it was great, about people's opinions not paying the bills, so therefore they were worth nothing. Why do people choose negativity? Criticism is easier than creation. It's easier than positivity. It requires a lot less effort to say something damning and mean than it does to think of something positive to say. Some people criticise because they have insecurities themselves or a lack of experience, so they don't know, or they think I'm standing on a lot of bits of wood down here, but there's a good place for the camera. And my other example was Max Lugavere, who's a big influencer with a very, very large following on Instagram and YouTube, posted on his Instagram this morning the results of a study we're in. I think it was a 4-year study that had been carried out on patients who were suffering from a very, very aggressive, very difficult to treat form of brain cancer. And what the study had involved was not medication, but they'd changed the diet of these poor people with these aggressive cancers in their brains from just a standard, I suppose it was in America, a standard American diet, let's say, a standard Western diet, and they changed it to a ketogenic diet. But it wasn't like heavily meat based, it was a Mediterranean ketogenic diet, which meant lots of fish and lots of unsaturated fat, things like olive oil and avocados. And it was a good study, and it had a good result, and people had survived much, much longer than expected, and some of them are still surviving. It was a very small study because it was only done on 18 people, and Max pointed that out. He said, there's more work to be done on this. This was a very small study, but what good news. And immediately somebody who called himself a nutritionist and also happened to mention that he was plant-based waded in with a comment which was along the lines of, you choose to believe this study and yet you don't believe the thousands of pieces of well-researched information out there stating that meat and saturated fats are actually not good for us. And Max, being ketogenic himself and in fact leaning more towards carnivore, came right back at him, which I thought was good. And then lots of other people waded in as well and noticed that he was plant-based. But it all started kicking off and it all got very unpleasant and aggressive when in fact Max had just posted something that was really good news and posted something really positive. And yet people will find something negative to say because it isn't their opinion, they don't believe it, it isn't what they want to hear, so they'll try and tear another person down. I mean, this guy wasn't anonymous because on Instagram you can look and see who anybody is, but just let Max tell that good news and rejoice in the fact that a group of 18 people had survived. Most of them had survived much, much longer than expected from this awful cancer because they changed their diets. Brilliant. Can't we just leave it at that? Why does it always have to be so negative and get so unpleasant so quickly? Stop recording. Lack of experience, or they just don't know, or they just have they've got so much bad in their own lives and so much negative in their own lives that it feels like that's all they can put out. And you do reflect what you are on the inside. Whatever you are, that tends to be what comes out. So if you are a very negative, sad person who likes to bring other people down, you probably don't feel that great about yourself, but this is your way of dealing with it. Choosing to focus on creativity and positivity rather than engaging with negativity is really important. Just take no notice of it. Don't engage. Don't start messaging backwards and forwards and getting involved in these discussions or nasty slanging matches that go on people's feeds after someone's just read or watched something that they disagree with. Yes, so people choose it because the internet also has this anonymity. You can say what you like. You don't think anybody's ever going to find you. They don't know who you are. You can be as mean as you want. And sometimes they're not even real people. Sometimes they're just bots. They're just I feel like there must be in these big food companies that produce this highly processed, ultra processed, highly sugary or chemical filled foods, as they're still allowed to call them. I feel that they must be getting perhaps a little bit nervous about the spreading word, the spreading belief and understanding that really this is not a human diet that we should all be indulging in. It doesn't do us any good in the long term. You might get away with it for a few years, but in the end it's going to actually do you a lot of harm, and you will not be the healthiest version of yourself. Way far from it. And it will come out it will manifest in many different ways, but none of them will be good. And I feel that if you're a big ultra processed food manufacturer, or you are an ultra processed or a fizzy soda sparkling drinks manufacturer, and somebody's posting that your Coke cans being lined with plastic like a condom inside is getting into the Coke is eating into that stuff and putting microplastics into the body of the person who drinks the drink, I don't think that can be very helpful or positive for these big companies. So what do we do about it? How do we turn negativity into motivation? Instead of letting criticism discourage you, you can use it as a fuel for improvement. If you're like me and you are a creator and you're trying to grow your... Very noisy red helicopter. If you are a creator like me and you're trying to develop a channel like I am, first of all, take no notice of the negative comments. Just ignore them, because if you add no fuel to the fire, then usually whoever's made the negative comment will disappear more quickly. Giving thoughtful, positive, constructive feedback helps build a better creative community for all of us. Because there's so much bad in the world, there's so much negativity, there's so much sadness. It's just sometimes feels like it's almost like it's just not worth carrying on, because there's so many awful things going on out there. There's so much cruelty, there's so much poverty. There's another helicopter. same one actually. That sometimes if you listen to too much of that stuff, it can feel like, what is the point in even going on here? There's so much bad in the world. And choosing to contribute positive stuff can create meaningful change. So if you like something that you've read and you think that that person's made a valid point and it's been useful to you and it's uplifted you and it's made you feel good just for a few moments, tell them how good that you think that their piece or their piece they wrote, that they took the time to write, or the speech they gave, tell them that you think it's good. Subscribe to them. Subscribe to me. That's what I was coming on to. For everything I look at on the internet, even if I don't necessarily agree with the content, I will give it, because it costs me nothing, but it means so much to the person who's created that information, and we grow through, oh, here comes another one. How much better to spread positive thought than miserable negative thoughts? Just better for everybody, isn't it? Just to give you one example, I also have an Instagram channel. I also have an Instagram page, and I posted lots and lots of stuff about health. Always posting about health. That was once I was qualified as a health coach. I wanted to spread the word and share all this amazing information, and I got hardly any likes. I got hardly anybody liking me, anybody following me, because I was just a tiny little dot in a great big sea of health and wellness influencers and people who are doing it such a much better job than I was. You know, they've been around for much longer and they just had huge channels, and I just felt like, God, this is really hard work. How am I ever going to get my message out there? I got a few followers and I got a few more. And then just before Christmas, somebody sent me, or my husband, a funny reel. And it was just a little clip of a BBC documentary where Stephen Fry was talking about this rare parrot, this rare breed parrot in this jungle. And the cameraman, I suppose he had two cameramen at least with him, because someone's filming this. Cameraman's all dressed in green, and this parrot, or whatever this little bird is, comes and lands on his head and starts trying to have sex with his head, flapping the wings. If you haven't seen it, go over onto my Instagram channel and watch it. It's pinned at the top. I posted that in early December. It's been on the internet for 2 or 3 years already, and I reposted it because I thought it was funny and it was cute, and it really made me laugh. I think today I have nearly 7 million views on that post. And all day long, every day, since the beginning of December to now, so that's coming up for 3 months now, people have been making funny comments about this funny little sketch, because it was really funny, it's really cute, and it goes on for a minute. And loads of those people followed me. And then now everything I post on my Instagram, people like it, and I get not 6 million, but not 6.5 million views, but I get loads of views. So now I just post funny content most of the time. I do post a bit of health stuff on there too, but it's a very different platform to YouTube. It's a very fast moving platform, and people's attention span is very short and scrolling, and they're bored. They're bored, so they're scrolling because they've got nothing else to do. And that's also why we get the negative comments coming through, because they're bored, and then they get annoyed about things that they read, and they leave massively nasty negative comments. But if you post funny stuff, you just get funny comments back, and everyone wins, because laughter really is the best medicine. It really is so important. A friend of mine told me a few months back that he uses Instagram just for laughs, because his own life has been so difficult and hard over the last nearly a year now. His life has been so difficult and traumatic that the only joy he's had, but that he can guarantee at the end of every day, is scrolling through funny stuff on the internet, and it has its place. They say it's cured people, just laughing, cured people of like diseases. There was somebody years and years ago, going back to almost when I was a child, it may or may not have been true, but it was said that this man, he had cancer, he knew he was dying, he locked himself in a room, he got all the funny videos, because it was videos back then, out of the library or from Blockbusters, which used to be the video store, and rented them and just sat there laughing his head off, and he cured himself. Now, whether or not that's true, I've always hoped it was true, but it's a good point, isn't it? You know, it could be true, because laughter makes you feel good. It releases endorphins. It makes you feel happy, and it can snowball in that whole direction of feeling happier and happier the more of it you do. So Connect with people that make you laugh and people that make you feel special and people who are positive, and take no notice of the negativity, and don't watch the news because it's so sad and it's so depressing. So in conclusion, focus on what you build, what you can make better. The internet's always going to have negativity, but we have the power to rise above it. We can change that. We can change it just by being more positive. Building something meaningful is always more positive than tearing something down. And instead of asking, what can I destroy? What can I say bad here? Who can I be mean to? Just stop. I don't believe for 1 minute that the people that watch my videos are those people anyway, because I have had, like I said, very few mean, nasty comments so far. And I've been posting quite regularly now for especially the last couple of months. But just think about being nice, think about being positive and kind, because it goes a long way. And go away and do this exercise. Try and do this. The very next person, and this is much harder for me because I don't speak Catalan, and the next person I see is going to be when I pop down to the butcher's in a minute and to get my bones to make my bone broth because I'm fasting today. Try and say something positive. Think of something nice, whether it's, oh, your hair looks lovely, or oh, I really like your outfit, or you did a really good job, well done. Or thank you for thinking of me, or thank you for doing that, or what, something. You can come up with something positive, because that will not only make the person that you reflect that, the person that you tell that to, will not only make them feel better, but it's going to make you feel better too. And on that note, thank you for watching. If you watched this far, I'll say bye for now. Please remember to drop me and if you haven't subscribed already, subscribe. And I hope that this topic about being kinder, being more positive, getting away from the clutter and the noise of negativity was useful. See you on my next video. Bye for now.